When the dust settles on NFL free agency, the NFC West will be the ones living in fear of Rams receivers. Quentin Byfield continues to show why trade rumors were complete garbage, and since USC basketball won't be named on Selection Sunday, we'll do what other reporters haven't and review their season. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the Faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is March 16th, 2025. When the sun rises, I'm going to be heading downtown to watch your six-time MLS Cup champion Galaxy play Portland. It's also Sunday, the Lord's Day, so if you believe as I do, take a moment and thank Him for the blessings in your life, like LA Sports. And if you like being in the know about LA, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist, and by all means comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. Kings 1, Nashville 0 in overtime. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Austin also handed LAFC a third consecutive loss, that by 1-0 as well. Meanwhile, today, Phoenix is at the Lakers at 12:30. Charlotte's at the Clippers at 4. It is again Galaxy game day. Galaxy at Portland at 1:45. And San Diego is at Angel City FC at 5:30. What do you say we get to the news? DeMarcus Robinson was kind of a feisty little pickup by the Rams 2 years ago, but he has left for Suck Francisco. Kind of expected, by the way. At the end of the season, Rams officials kind of gave lip service to Robinson's entire tenure. I would assume it's because the dude was arrested for alleged drinky-drivey, but I wouldn't know for sure, right? A Rams blogger, though, overreacted, saying that this plus Cooper Kupp leaving proves that LA desperately needs to improve its defensive backfield. Oh my God, we should all live in fear of the two receivers who left LA only to stay in the division. Now, I don't want to call this guy an idiot, but what the blue hell are you talking about, bruh? The Niners, for example, they traded away Deebo Samuel. They are still picking up fragments of Brandon Ayuk's knee. He blasted out everything in there. I mean, I like DeMarcus Robinson, even when he's sober. But you're trying to tell me that he's going to match the production of Deebo Samuel and or Brandon Ayuk? That he's the number one guy? Please. And oh, by the way, Robinson is still waiting to find out if he's going to be suspended for the DUI case. Now, as for Cooper Kupp, Seattle no longer has DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett. And Kupp has been a number one guy before, don't get me wrong. But the best way to put pressure on defensive backs, you need more than one guy to catch the football. Ask the Chargers. The truth of the matter is, the Rams wide receiver room is the one that everybody in football has to prepare for. We mentioned this last week. Kupp and Puka Nacua are a redundancy in the matrix. They both run the tough routes over the middle. They both run the jet sweep, etc. Now, as much as we all respect Kupp, you don't need two of the same guy on the field. Both of them, yeah, they find holes in zone coverage, which is awesome. But what happens when your opponent goes man-to-man? Well, for the Rams, Devontae Adams destroys man coverage. Absolutely destroys it. So, to defensive coordinators, particularly the ones across the NFC West, pick your poison. Who gets double-teamed? And by the way, I haven't even mentioned the idea of Tutu Atwell beating everybody downfield on deep routes. The Rams also brought back defensive lineman Larrell Murchison. He is a depth dude. He started 3 games, but again, depth. Do you remember when some idiot named Nick Kyprios 2 or 3 weeks ago suggested that the Kings might trade Quentin Byfield. Kyprios had no sources. He's not even an insider. He's a former player. He didn't cultivate connections with front offices across the NHL. It was literally as if somebody got him a cheap suit from Men's Warehouse, a microphone. He's like, after years of all these reporters getting my quotes wrong and screwing up my life, well, two can play that game now. I'm not right about everything in this world. But I was telling you the idea the Kings would trade Quentin Byfield was ridiculous. It was insane, a fantasy. And it was ridiculous because Byfield was drafted to be the next Anze Kopitar. And even if he didn't have the production that he's having, you don't give up on that when the dude is just 22. You don't. But then the clickbait pimps, they started tweeting and a clipping for their YouTubes. And next thing you know, the LA Times, once a dependable source for sports information, the LA Times went, I wonder if the Kings are going to trade Quentin Byfield. Yeah. So let's give you an update. Quentin Byfield has scored a goal in each of his last 6 games, including the overtime winner in last night's game against Nashville. He is the first King with goals in 6 consecutive games since Luc Robitaille 32 years ago. So, shh. Put down the bong and back away. Oh, by the way, when it's 5-on-5 on the ice, in other words, it's not a power play, it's not a penalty kill, Byfield is tied for the league lead in assists. Shh. Trading Quentin Byfield. What are you guys talking about? Toward the end of USC's basketball season, Coach Eric Musselman bemoaned the lack of support that the Trojans had been getting. And to an extent, he's right. He's not necessarily right because toward the end of the year, there were less than 6,000 people showing up at the Galen Center. You know, that's not the fans' fault. But he is right in the sense that when you look for Trojans basketball news, good luck. I talk about the Trojans as much as I can. I scoured the internet and local media outlets for a USC basketball obituary. Now, in sports journalism, I'm a former sports writer. When the season is over, the scribes act as if it's a death. Hence the term obituary for the season. And I couldn't find one, which goes to show you how far the Trojans slid after Andy Enfield abandoned ship at the worst possible time. To summarize, the Trojans were mediocre, but they didn't suck. USC was the Zendaya of college basketball. You watch the game, but like any Zendaya movie, you don't remember if she was any good in it. You don't even remember that she was in it, and yet she's in everything. So the Trojans, they finished below 500, but they beat Illinois when Illinois was a top 10 team. They beat Michigan State. Michigan State won the Big Ten Conference in the regular season. So, all things being equal, kind of a fair result. Now, if you recall last summer, Musselman and his assistants, they rented a house by the beach and they turned it into part mission control for emergency recruiting and part frat house, because only one player from Andy Enfield's era stayed. So Musselman added 18 players over the summer. 18! So you're telling me you get 18 guys, and you're going to teach them all the playbook, and you're expecting them to come out like world beaters? Kind of a stretch. Kind of. And he knew this was going to be an ongoing process. He told the scribes that this makeshift roster would have to play, quote, near flawless basketball to win, unquote. So what does that mean for this offseason? He's got to haul ass all over again. Second verse, same as the first. Here is why. 10 players are either seniors or graduate students. St. Thomas, one of the few guys who could kind of play the post on that roster, gone. Chibuzo Agbo, starter, gone. A third starter, Rashawn Ajee, gone. And this is assuming that guards Wesley Yates and Desmond Claude want to stay. Now, Yates appears to be pretty happy with Musselman, but more to the point, the 2024-25 Trojans were super unbalanced. They didn't have anything resembling rim protection. They didn't have anything that resembled consistent rebounding. Their tallest player was 6'8". Moreover, despite a necessity to play small ball offense, they lacked a point guard. For next year, Musselman already has one big piece in place. He landed a top 10 recruit, Elijah Arenas, the son of former NBA star Gilbert Arenas. Problem though, he too is a shooting guard. So if you're going to go with a 3-guard lineup, that's fine with me. But you still need a point guard, and you definitely need somebody who can protect the rim. Now, Musselman's father, a longtime coach. Let me backtrack. I would say that Eric Musselman knows what he needs for this team. Because Musselman is intense. He's not stupid. And by the way, he gets that from his father. His father was a longtime coach, and he once said that losing was worse than death because you had to live with each loss. Sounds kind of intense, don't you think? So needless to say, Eric Musselman is driven to make sure that the Trojans do not finish with a sub-500 record next year. So if you're a Trojans fan, do you take any happiness out of basketball season? Well, I can give you one little ray of sunshine. Enfield isn't going to make the NCAA tournament either. SMU was eliminated in the ACC tournament on Thursday. They have 0 quality wins on the schedule. Very, very, very doubtful that they get called up to the brackets. JJ Redick listed LeBron James, Rui Hachimura, and Jackson Hayes as day-to-day. Now, that may be accurate. I don't know. I mean, we were told that James was supposed to get another look at his wonky groin in a week. And by the way, does anybody remember doing the wonky groin in the dance clubs back in the 90s? Remember? You know, you'd be trying to like get with a chick, and you do the running man, you do the Tootsie Roll, but when you really wanted to seal the deal, you did the wonky groin. Right? Right? Now, as for James, maybe somebody in the hospital, maybe everybody in the hospital wanted to look at his groin earlier. I wouldn't know. Maybe that's an update we just don't know enough about. If James, though, is in fact out for another week, know this. The Lakers play 5 times this week. And by the way, the Lakers also went 0-4 on their recent road trip. They fell from 2nd in the Western Conference all the way down to 5th. So, choppy waters ahead. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me, for example, about whether or not you believe DeMarcus Robinson is now going to put fear in the Rams defense. And for that matter, what are your memories of USC basketball? Or for that matter, how overjoyed are you that Quentin Byfield has stayed? And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We talk LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Actually, we'll be back later today with a rapid recap of Galaxy Soccer. Faithful Angelenos is a Ken Corte El Queso production. Take care.